Hello beautiful people from the internet, it is Connie over here. Today I'm aware that the background and the setting that I'm recording in is not exactly the prettiest, but the topic of today goes beyond aesthetics. Today I'm going to be talking about something very important and very real to me as a person who has had anxiety for all of my life. Ever since I can remember, I've been anxious about something, hiding in my room, crawling in a little ball and wondering when is this going to end. Also, as a person who has been smoking cigarettes for 2 years, I am very aware of how cigarettes affect anxiety, at least in my case. Be careful and mindful that this is going to change for everyone. Every case is different, everyone's anxiety is different, everyone's way that they respond to cigarettes is different. So I'm going to be talking on my specific case, and maybe someone out there can relate and you will know how, cigarettes affect anxiety. Because if you are considering starting to smoke, do not consider it, drop it right now, especially if you have anxiety. Smoking will make it worse, basically. Point blank period. Like, you just know right now, you can click off the video, don't start to smoke if you have anxiety. But I'm going to be talking about my experience with it, so you have a little more through explanation on everything that I felt because of both my anxiety and my cigarettes being combined and mixed together. So I'm going to be lighting my Portuguese 100 red cigarette, kind of ironic, and I'm going to be talking about this topic, so let's go. I've also been noticing that my lighters have been dying, all of them at the same time, which is, maybe I should go get a new one. But so basically, first of all, from a scientific standpoint, from what I understand, the cigarette buzz is not exactly a relaxation of your body, but it is a sudden burst of adrenaline that triggers that little lightheadedness, high feeling that goes away after a few seconds, So although a lot of people believe that cigarettes calm you, they make something in your brain that releases some calming endorphin or something like that. That's not the case. It actually releases a little bit of adrenaline, which triggers your fight or flight for a short second. That makes you feel a little head buzz, but doesn't make you feel like threatened right away, because it's such a short little interaction inside of your brain, which I think is very interesting. And I'm hoping that I'm, explaining this correctly, because I'm not very good at explaining scientific things, because when I try to remember something that I read on the internet, the information kind of gets mixed in my head, but I'm pretty sure I could explain that correctly. Now, that information in itself is not very informative, so I'm going to be talking to you about how it has been affecting my anxiety, both short-term and long-term, ever since I've been smoking. Sorry, my voice is getting a little bit raspy because I haven't drank water in a little bit and I don't have any on me, so it just is what it is. So as I said, I'm a very, very anxious person, not trying to be quirky or like funny, or I'm literally like quite a very anxious person. I freak out at the littlest things and I'm still not very able to control that well at all. So when I started smoking, I thought, when I first felt that buzz in my head of smoking, which was very intense. The first time I smoked, it almost felt like a weed buzz, to be quite honest, because nicotine had never entered my body, so it reacted to it in a very big way. So what I felt was extreme relaxation for around a minute. My head just cleared and my thoughts were gone, and I was like, oh, this is why people say cigarettes are so good for your anxiety, which I only had ever heard like 2 people from my class say that, so they were like 18-year-olds telling this to me, so I was basing my whole opinion of cigarettes on opinions of 2 18-year-old boys, okay? So I was obviously very naive to think that they were right or they knew any kind of correct information. Now, one thing to be very mindful about with cigarettes is that very intense, big buzz that you get for the first maybe 5 times that you smoke is going to start decreasing. You are not going to feel this extreme sensation. Sorry, I'm right by a very big highway, so you're gonna hear some motorcycles, I'm sorry about that. But that very big feeling that you feel on the first time that you smoke is not gonna be like that for the rest of your life. And that's why people start smoking more, because they are chasing that buzz, and then the buzz goes away completely, but they just need the nicotine in their body in order to not feel anxious. So that's my very big point. Cigarettes can feel like they lessen your anxiety for the first times, but when you actually get addicted to them, they will worsen your anxiety, because now you need cigarettes to feel okay again. And that is the first big point if you're considering starting to smoke. And if you have anxiety, you will have your normal anxiety, and then you will have increased anxiety because you will want to smoke a cigarette. So be careful with that. Now, something that is more personal to me and that I never knew happened was nicotine sickness. All right, so I'm a person who's a very lightweight. I have very low tolerance to all sorts of substances. We could be talking about nicotine, alcohol, or honestly, I've never really tried anything else other than weed for like a week or a month. I guess I'm being a little bit dramatic, but my point is I'm very sensitive to substances. And if you are as well, if you know that you are sensitive to substances, you might be very prone to something that is nicotine sickness. Now, what is this? Nicotine sickness basically is when you put a higher amount of nicotine in your body than your body is able to process. So you will feel things such as nausea, a lot of nausea, dizziness, kind of, you know, that feeling when you start getting worked up before a panic attack. You will feel that. At least that's what I feel. You know, when I get nicotine sickness, which happens usually when I smoke without eating anything, when I smoke more than one cigarette in a row, when I smoke a cigarillo, that is a cigarette wrapped in tobacco leaf that has a higher amount of nicotine in it, I'm very prone to getting nicotine sickness. And as a person with anxiety, I start feeling very worked up. I start feeling like I'm going to have a panic attack once the nicotine sickness starts kicking in. And it's not a very pleasant sensation. So all of these factors combined, you have anxiety, you know that you are a lightweight, you are going to be very prone to nicotine sickness, which is not fun at all to go through. Now, if we are talking about long-term effects though, I feel like I'm an exceptional case, although I hate saying this because it feels like I'm trying to distinguish myself from other people, but truth is I've been able to keep my cigarette consumption at around 1 cigarette per day, and some days I don't even smoke. Now, I've been trying to comprehend this for a long time. I've been smoking for 2 years, so supposedly, according to the statistics, I should be smoking more than 1 cigarette a day by now. I should be more addicted, if we are going to be using that term, which I'm not. I've been able to control it very well, in my humble opinion, and I've been only smoking 1 cigarette per day on average for the past 2 years. So that thing that I was talking about at the beginning of you will have increased anxiety because you will want to smoke more, sometimes I do feel that though. These ability that I have to keep myself at 1 cigarette a day comes with a lot of self-control, and some days I'm like, I really want to smoke again, like I really want to smoke another cigarette. And although some days I allow myself to do that, they are very rare. It comes with a lot of self-control. I have to go through wanting to smoke a cigarette and not smoking it and having that willpower, which sometimes increases my anxiety, you know. So although it has not affected my anxiety long term, so I don't feel like I have more anxiety because of cigarettes, in this specific situation where I'm controlling myself to not smoke another one, if I didn't smoke cigarettes at all, I would not have these instances in my day where I feel like I have to have self-control in order not to smoke more. So I guess it kind of has had some long-term effects in the way that I do feel a little bit more anxiety on the days that I have to be controlling myself so much to not smoke another cigarette. Truth is, I don't smoke another cigarette most days, so I feel like I'm pretty good with self-control. But sometimes I think, you know, if I didn't smoke cigarettes, I wouldn't have to be trying so hard with self-control. So there are a lot of things that you need to be aware when you are smoking cigarettes and you have anxiety. Excuse me for my voice. I really need to start drinking more water though. Like when I smoke cigarettes, I remind myself of that. You just need to be aware that cigarettes are going to affect your anxiety. If you are a person that doesn't have anxiety, you will probably get some sort of anxious feeling towards cigarettes when you start needing to smoke them more. So that is something that you need to be very aware of before you start smoking cigarettes, all right? So I just wanted to give this little PSA, like wow, so professional. Not a PSA at all, just my opinions on this, to be honest. I hope they were somewhat helpful to you. You know, I'm not really that good at explaining things and events in a chronological order. All of this to say that at first I really thought cigarettes were going to be a calming thing for my anxiety, which sometimes they are, you know. For me, smoking a cigarette sometimes is like I'm in my computer doing work. I go out and I'm like, oh, I need to like just clear my head, not like just go out of my computer, and it forces me to go out to smoke a cigarette. Not forces me, you know, but I do go, which sometimes helps, you know, just going outside, going for a walk and smoking a cigarette. But if I didn't smoke cigarettes, I would not have to experience nicotine sickness. I would not have to have such self-control and an anxiety over self-control. So you just need to balance things out and think about the struggles that you are willing to go just because you want to smoke a cigarette. Think if it's worth it for you to feel this increase in anxiety because of cigarettes, or if you just rather continue your normal life and not have increased anxiety because of a substance that you are inserting into your body. So I just hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was somewhat informative. I'm sorry if I'm really bad at explaining things. I sure did try my best. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back very soon. Bye!